Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter Bradley, and with me as always is Mario,
So, guys,
and Connor's here.
Everyone.
I didn't mean to say my last name there. Did it sound odd that I sort of
It did
paused?
sound like you'd forgotten your own name for a second.
Nah,
yeah,
I said my last name. Like, oh, I don't usually say the last names on this, but it doesn't matter. Um, we're going to talk about Agent Carter. This is season 2, episode 5. It's called The Atomic Job, and full spoilers for the episode as always. So are we all still really lukewarm on this at best?
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, still very mediocre. Yeah, I feel bad saying it because technically this episode did do some things I liked. I liked that they were trying to build more of a team out of it.
Yeah,
Um,
and the first half with the espionage stuff was probably the most fun I've had with it all season.
Mm.
yeah, it's weird because I feel like I've had this constant feeling all season where each episode will have some fun moments that I quite enjoy,
Mm.
but overall I really just don't care that much about what's going
Yeah,
on.
and then, well, I think the worst part is you can't even point at one thing and kind of say like this is terrible, or this all these collection of things are terrible, or the dialogue was there isn't like anything wrong with it. It's just not good.
Yeah, the thing is, if I lay out all the pieces, like the espionage, the team building, the character interaction, like this should be good. This should be like really enjoyable, but it's just not.
That's it. I must admit, something that's bothering me more and more as we're getting through, and this is something that had all last season as well, is the visuals have got this sort of glowy, waxy look to them to, I guess, hide like the backgrounds and stuff to make it look old school and vintage.
Yeah,
It bugs me. Connor's a dick and mute his phone before we started.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But it was on.
Like, because the scene where Peggy keeps like erasing the guy's mind, like every like minute, like that was amusing. Like it was fun.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, there's nothing wrong with anything. It's just not all really
Mm.
adding up.
Well, I think that they rely again, like we always say, it relies too much on Peggy and Jarvis, and the plot just seems so bland and boring. Like, and nothing really seems to matter. It's hard to shake this feeling that it's just this pocket that doesn't really exist. Doesn't feel like there's a real place.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of like they've got this like section of the history where they can kind of do whatever they want, um, but because of that, it just kind of feels irrelevant to everything else.
I'm really disappointed it's not like tying into Shield more, because obviously they started off with the first episode of that double. They set up the idea that this could actually tie into Shield this season,
yeah,
and then it's been 3 episodes since that, and it hasn't felt like it is at all.
No, I mean that's the secret society or whatever. Obviously, is connected to the whole thing that's going on, at least in the backstory of Shield. But I don't know how much of that they're actually going to go into, if at all, because they've barely touched on it.
That's the problem. At first, it felt like they were going to actually be relevant to Shield, and I was sort of looking forward to that. But then
yeah.
they've just kind of
Well, it's
shied
just
away
the
from it.
plot doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Like there isn't this overarching feeling of this matters in this way. Like because here, Whitney Frost is trying to find an atomic bomb to help recreate the experiment that created the black matter. That blah 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 blah. But then what? Are we afraid of her becoming like another Red Skull? Is that organization like what's the threat? What's the stake? How does this impact everybody?
Is she
Like they
just
keep mentioning that it could blow up like all of the city, but we barely see the city, so it doesn't really feel like LA is really at peril. So
is she really just in it for the real estate, like Hugh, not Hugh Jackman, like Gene Hackman and Superman? You know, is that what this is all about? Get
It's all just a secret way to boost her movie career. Like
Yeah.
it's all just a way to get infamous.
oh dear.
and that's kind of boring.
Yeah, basically, yeah. What it all boils down to, I'm just kind of bored when I watch this. I always have to be sitting browsing the internet when I'm watching this now. I can't just sit and focus on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, I
definitely.
just don't care enough. It's just that's so sad too because she's great and I enjoy her. I enjoy the character. I just wish she was part of a better show.
For me, a lot of this is just very similar to how I feel about that first Cat movie, to be honest.
How dare you?
I'm on Pete's side on this one.
I know, but how dare you both?
it has that same.
Just whatever.
I don't even know what you call it. It's like this, like sugary sweet view of the past, and everything feels like everyone's dressing up rather than actually feeling like the 1940s. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a stage play rather than like. And I guess part of that will be budget, but then the movie kind of felt like that as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really feel that in the movie at all.
I don't know.
And this, I feel like, because it just everything feels like a set. It feels like it's just a YouTube channel putting on this thing.
Oh, that's a bit mean, but yeah, okay.
No, but you know what I mean. Like it just
Yeah.
feels like they're trying. Because when you watch like a YouTube something, like somebody's doing like, oh, we're doing a Daredevil series from YouTube, you automatically give it a certain amount of leeway of like, I'm obviously not going to get the Netflix Daredevil. Like, obviously it's fucking YouTube, so you just kind of go in expecting it to be. You know what I mean? That's the same
Yeah.
kind of feeling that this gives me. Like that's the kind of thing you would
But
look
when
at.
it's on an actual network, you expect a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, it's actually interesting. Haley Atwell was cast in a pilot for ABC earlier today. I read this news. It's a legal drama or something on ABC. Now they said when they announced it that if Carter gets picked up for a third season, they'll work out the schedule so she can do both. But honestly, I feel like they might have already made up their minds that they're cancelling it, and they're just not. They don't want to like tell everyone it's dead while the season's still got like half of it left.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the numbers will tank.
So I don't know.
Well, there's no team. Like I know they try to make this team, but it doesn't really. They're not really there. Like another thing's like nobody gets developed much. Like Jarvis isn't going anywhere. Like it's not like you set up this situation where he has certain flaws and this is the things he needs to work on and he's growing as a person.
Yeah, there's no arc. That was one
Yeah.
of the big things in the first season as well that we complained about at the end of it was what was the arc for Peggy? What was the arc for Jarvis? The other two main characters, they should have.
See, the thing, especially with Peggy, is like she has a set place that we saw her, and we have a set place that we know she ends at.
Yeah.
So even if they try and take her around in a circle, it might feel cheap, as cheap as doing nothing. But with Jarvis, there isn't really an excuse because he's kind of a blank slate anyway.
Well, that's true with everybody. Like with Agents of Shield, like one of the reasons we care so much is because we've gotten to know all the characters for this long, and now we're invested in what's happening with them.
Yeah.
With this, there's nothing happening to them or something to be invested in. The other thing that's really weird, I think, the guy that's chief, forget his name.
Sousa.
That's supposed to be, I think, her husband, and that's the guy that in Winter Soldier, when Steve goes to talk to her and talks about how he saved the guy that would end up being her husband. That's supposed to be him. So it's not like you really know that they're not going to get together.
Yeah, that was something that bogged this one down for me as well. Is like I thought when he
Connor's
proposed.
putting that together now.
I honestly forgot. It's
Yeah.
been a while, and
See when he proposed, I thought that scene was well enough done. Like
Yeah.
I had a sweetness to it, and she was like, "Oh, let's look for the ring then." And he's like, "Was that a yes?" Like it was fine. Like it was a nice, relatively decent way of doing a proposal scene.
Yeah.
But then, like, she sees him looking concerned for Peggy after she almost died, and it turns into melodrama.
yeah. To be honest, I think anyone would look concerned when their friend's bleeding out on the couch.
Yeah, like that felt really forced to me. And it's kind of love triangle for the sake of love triangle. You know, it's she sees him, but there's an obstacle in the way. He's got a girlfriend now, like
Yeah.
so that feels very forced for the sake
Yeah,
of
and
drama.
the other guy's too busy being not really there in this plane of existence.
Yeah.
You know, that old excuse.
Yeah. Again, with the team building as well, it feels really too little too late. We're halfway through the second season, and we only just saw a team assembled for the first time.
Yeah, and
Right.
one of them is a scientist who we seen once, like 2 episodes ago, something like
Yeah, exactly.
that.
It just feels really
She
cheap.
should have started this episode where she was originally with a team already. That would have picked up a lot better.
Yeah.
Or her
And-
like figuring out all the problems with the new Shield team as they're just trying to create Shield.
Yeah, like, that's something we've said before as well, is that what this really should have been was her trying to create S.H.I.E.L.D., because we know she establishes it.
Yeah.
And we see in Winter Soldier like they go into that bunker, whatever, like halfway through, and we see photos of like Tommy Lee Jones's character and Howard Stark, meaning that he's also somewhat instrumental in helping create Shield. And obviously, we're not seeing him in this show. Like, so when does this happen? You know, what are they?
Later.
Yeah,
It just happens later. It's cool. They'll get to it.
This is the problem with prequels, though, is that we know where she has to be at the end, and they already are having her be like that just now. So there's no journey. There's no. At least if they were building Shield, and that was the challenge, that they have to get this running to help fight something.
Yeah.
That could be the plot.
But what's weird is you can still make that fun and interesting. Like, you can still have them be quirky and do things, and one of them's the one that screws up all the time. One of them's the guy that's grumpy, and you know what I mean? You can do all the same stuff they usually do and still make it an interesting show, but they focus way too much on the two stars, and everything just revolves around them.
I wonder if the reason they didn't do that is because they'd be potentially too similar to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I guess that's true.
I guess then there you've got a team, you've got the set archetypes to begin with at least, and then obviously they grew, and that's it, they're one team. Obviously at first they're part S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're doing their own thing, and now it's like, if you did this, this is a team of S.H.I.E.L.D. and let's get started and face the challenges. It might feel too similar when they're
maybe that would have worked, though, because maybe it would have mirrored the present day S.H.I.E.L.D. with the first S.H.I.E.L.D. team. Like, this is the one that started it, and how different it was, and what they're going through, and how do you fight the stuff that they have to fight without satellites and without, all the tech that.
Well, and then all the jets and shit that take them everywhere. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially since it was only an 8-episode season last year. It's not like we get another full 20+ episodes of a very similar thing. We get 8 episodes, which was meant to be like a side thing. Like, it could have worked. It could have felt more connected that way as well.
The whole show kind of feels a bit of a missed opportunity, really.
Yeah.
It just feels pointless.
Yeah.
It feels pointless. So, if you've actually watched all of this review or listened to all of it, and you like Agent Carter, I apologise for being this depressing about it, and you probably won't be looking forward to a review of next week's episode, because let's be honest, we're not really looking forward to watching next week's episode.
No, we're not expecting much.
We don't even think it's bad. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's kind of worse.
Yeah, because at least when later on, when me and Connor review Arrow, and I'm screwing my head off saying how much I hate it and how much
it's always fun.
And I want to rip out the eyes of everyone who's involved. Like, at least then there's passion.
It's true.
I'm angry.
Yep, and this one you're just struggling to find something to even talk about.
Yeah, so I hope you come back to hear us struggle to find something to talk about next week when we review episode 6 of Agent Carter.